Welcome to the Bougie Multipreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Hillary Heschauer Jones. Tune into my show where we discuss how to attract more money so you can spend more money. Welcome back to the Bougie Multipreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Hillary Heschauer Jones. Today, I want to tell you a little bit about my history with chiropractic. Some of you know that I am a chiropractor and I have a couple of chiropractic offices. I wanted to tell you a little bit about what it was like to start a second location. So whether you're a chiropractor or not, or you are a service professional that would maybe want to start a second location, I think this will be some really great info for you, just some things you might be wondering, or sometimes it's nice to see like how someone else did it. It doesn't mean you want to do it that way, but it's nice to get ideas and different things. So I can't say that I know the right way or there's only one right way to do it, but I just want to tell you a little bit how we started our second location. So I had my first location. It's been almost 16 years, and it was just about a year 15-ish that I thought and had an opportunity to start a second one. And I am blessed enough to have some great associates that work for me in my original location. And I had one that really stood out and was very entrepreneurial and a go-getter like me. And her and I talked about it. I was like, I've always wanted a second location. I don't know why. It's just something that I always wanted. People even ask, why? Why do you want more headache? Like what? I'm good at being a chiropractor. I'm great at running businesses. So why not start one that I'm both good and great at? And in this instance, I started the second one kind of in hopes that my associate would work it and I would not have to actually work with the patients, but I could just actually work on the business and she could work in the business. So that's what we did actually. I actually created a new LLC. I made the names very similar to what the original one was, but I made it a separate LLC in the hopes that, or in the event that in the future, she or someone would want to purchase the second practice separate from the original main practice. So from the beginning, I made sure everything was cut and clear and all the bookkeeping separated. Just literally everything is separated just so we can see the true profit and loss from the second clinic. So I started it in May. And so we actually are going to be coming on soon, close to a year with it. And when we decided where to do it, as you know, if you have any place, rent is so expensive. And I get it because I own commercial buildings and rental properties. I get why it is. But I thought, you know what, let's try to keep overhead low and let's try to use our money for what really matters and the bigger bang for the buck. And I really wanted to try a little bit of a lower overhead and lower rent. So what I was looking for, and if I found it because I manifested this, I had this vision of what I wanted before I actually set out to get it. But I wanted to be in with someone else's business in a room or two that they weren't using that had a similar ideal client base. And visually, it was similar to what I would want. So the aesthetics of it all would be me also, an extension, so to speak. And then lo and behold, my friend that owns a orthodontic clinic had just built hers out and had some extra space. And I was like, how cool would that be? And it all worked out, you guys. We rent a room from an orthodontist, and we all have similar target market and ideal clients. It's really great. The overhead is much lower. It's all a one lump sum. We're not paying for any extra utilities because it's all worked in. It's kind of a win-win. I think that she probably enjoys, just some extra money for renting out her space. I enjoy that I don't have to have a huge contract and pay for all these additional fees. So if you haven't thought about a second location within someone else's office or in conjunction with, something to think about. If it's something you want, start manifesting it now. Write it down what it's going to look like. Visualize things. Maybe you make up a little board too. I love making like boards on Canva with pictures of like what I'm manifesting and what I'm wanting. And if it doesn't happen this year for you or you want it in the future, now's a great time as any just to start like manifesting that, what it looks like, what it smells like, what the lighting's like, what the colors are like, what these patients are going to be like when they come in, everything like that. So like I said, we kind of started with more of like a lower overhead, which is what I wanted because I wanted to use money to invest in other things such as like marketing. And then to be strategic with marketing, I have found, because I started my other practice this way, that community involvement and just getting out there and meeting people was like key for me. I am kind of an extrovert, so it's easy for me to want to like go to events, meet people, like stop by, drop off things, get to know them, refer to their businesses. And what I do is I kind of create like a spreadsheet of like where I've been, what maybe we've talked about, what I've dropped off. And I try to, even to date, even 17 years later, I'm going through and making sure that I'm following up with a lot of people that I met. And I try quarterly actually to make sure I like at least get a touch point, see what their business is doing and how I can help them. I always go into these situations like, how can I help you versus how they could help me? So I don't go into these office to market like, hey, we opened up this new practice. Here's our card. Can you send us patients? Never that at all. It's more like, what do you do? Great. I will keep this in mind for my future patients. We'll love to meet up again in the future or to maybe do an event together. I'm also really big about doing like marketing events with other business owners, whether or not they're ever going to be a patient of mine. Especially if they have the same ideal client and target market as me, we could all work together to accomplish the same goal. So I'm really a big fan of events, even like networking events, like getting all these people together. So if I was in a new area, like we were for this second location, I would get together all of the contacts that I made and try to form like a networking group or an event or like an after hours thing and just really get to know them. The thing is, you have to be like consistent and repetitioning this over and over. It's not like a one and done where you're like, I'm going to drop off my business card and everyone's going to flow into my office. Nope. It really takes some consistency and some planning and really like putting out in the universe what you want, like manifest this. So with this second location, what I chose to do is I had such a great presence already in social media that I didn't want to start a new social media for this second location, even though it was technically a second business under a different LLC. We kind of combined it all into one and kind of a piggybacked off of everything and have both logos on it. Same with the website. We had been around so long that I didn't want a second website. I just kind of incorporated it into the first primary one. I think this will be great in the future when we do sell the location, that whoever buys it can essentially change the name, start the website, start everything fresh, but would still be buying like the patient base and the charts, so to speak. So I wanted the low overhead, going back to that. We did invest money into different like magazines in the community and mailers, kind of went back a little old school and did like postcard mailing. So that actually worked out well for us. I can't say it brought us in like, 20 new patients a month or anything like that, but it did kind of put our name out there. So you definitely want to get your name out there in a community if you're not already in it. And trying not to be a little too pushy. We're a little bit like just introducing ourselves. We're meeting all the professionals. We're going to different groups. We're involved in the different festivals. So really just try to like build through the sales ladder, if you will, like just get to know people, help out in the community. If people are doing open houses and parties and let's just say that there were some gyms in the area. I would be offering them, hey, do you want like a gift certificate to give away at your next event? Things like that. Like, again, what could you, me, do for them? Don't ask them to do for you. So if they can't think of anything, I like to make sure that I go into these situations with them and have ideas where maybe I'm like, hey, I would love to interview you and put you on our social media and let all our clients know about you. Or let's say they have an event and they need like a gift basket for a door prize. Like, let me do that. Let me offer something. And then, they'll probably put that, your chiropractic office donated that, or on social media, or get together. Or is there anyone that you're looking to connect with? Because by now, if you've been making a list of all your contacts and they're like, I really wish I could find a med spa to like get with and maybe do some referrals back and forth. Like, oh, we've got that. I would love to introduce you to our contacts. So you could be the person in the community that like really helps like connect other people. Because I really think what goes around comes around, and you helping others will definitely come back and help you. Manifest like what you want your second location to look like, smell like, be. What kind of presence do you want on social media? What do you want as far as events in the community? What do you want to be known for in the community? With a second location, you could switch it up a little bit too. If, let's say, you were a chiropractor and you wanted a different type of chiropractic office, you wanted no insurance and you wanted it to be a boutique, a little bougie chiropractic office, you can do that with your second one and leave the first one the way it was. So you can change things up. Your vision can change a little bit. You can try something new. It's really great. I try to think of what's the worst thing that could happen, when doing anything really. And so you're afraid to start a second location. What's the worst thing that could possibly happen? In my mind, the worst thing that could happen is we'd have to shut down. Oh, well, people fail. It's fine. You learn from it. Doesn't mean that I wouldn't start it back up again another time. You never know. I'd never go into something thinking I'm going to fail though, but I do sometimes think to myself or to my coaching clients, okay, but what's the worst that could happen when we get stressed out about something and they're worried about starting this or that, but what's the worst thing that could happen? And it's okay, it fails or you have to shut down for a while. Okay? Like, is everyone still alive? Are you losing your house over it? No? Okay, it's fine. It doesn't have to be so doom and gloom. Don't be afraid to try something. If you have this like inkling in your heart to start something else, like I did with the second office, then go for it. There must be a reason why your intuition is telling you to do something. You should listen to it and then act on it, but do it to like your full like capacity, right? I never just start something and just like sit back. I really put a lot of effort into it because there must be a reason for all this happening, and the universe will provide. You doing your very best, you being out there for everyone and helping your community the best that you possibly can will come back around, right? It's just flowing. You will attract the money. You will attract the type of patients that you want, the type of clients. So I guess really like write out or visualize what it is you want for a second location. Think about different ways to do it, right? You don't have to find some place that has a 5-year contract and huge overhead and cam rates. You don't have to do it. Things could be different. If you did it one way with your first practice or business and you want to change it up and do it different, go for it, especially if you feel like you can do it. If you've already done it once, I bet you can do it again. If you're already a great business owner, you could do it again. You could change it slightly or you could keep it the same. You don't have to recreate the wheel that time, but really think about your overhead when you're starting a second one. That one's always key for me. I'm always watching that. I do the profit first kind of profitability and allocating percentages, which I'll talk about on another podcast because I love doing that and love raking in the money. Love pushing out the money. I will spend the money. I will make money. That's what makes the world go round. I'll manifest what I want and what I deserve. And if you have any other questions about starting a second practice, feel free to reach out to me. I'm on all social medias. And I do a lot of coaching with my clients on this too. Most of my clients are chiropractic in nature, but I have had other service professionals because I feel like it's very similar. A chiropractic office is similar to dental, similar to physical therapy, similar to hair. I mean, it's a service, and you're a service professional, and it's very similar. So reach out to me if you have any questions on a second location. Manifest it. It will happen. Put some effort into it, and you will be happy you did. Trust your intuition, because sometimes if you have an idea and you've had it for years, like I have, there's a reason for it. So put it out there, get the money in, become a money magnet. Thanks for listening. Click subscribe so you don't miss the next episode, and let's make some money.